Hi everyone and welcome. This is the last and final video of the Afterword series. When we came up with the idea for this series, we wanted to give space to the many thoughts, feelings, and ideas that people from all around the world had in their minds and hearts as soon as this crisis started. We wanted to remove unnecessary barriers, formalities, and mechanisms that usually complicate things, and this is why we opted for a very simple homemade video, no frills kind of format. We wanted to focus on the essence, that very simple essence that can be expressed with words. It was not easy to get people involved at first, but once we started, the videos came rolling in, and we ended up publishing for 6 weeks every single day compared to the 3 weeks format we initially planned for. Most messages in the beginning were full of hope, encouraging people to look positively at the future, some sort of invitation to grab this moment, to take this opportunity to reflect and to look forward into something new, to envision a new future in which we can live together. As we moved on, we realized that choosing the right words was very, very complicated. It was not only hard, but also extremely important, because if we didn't choose the right words, what we were saying was only a mirror of our own internal confusion. As time started passing by, this initial feeling of everything is going to be okay turned into something new. My grandmother used to tell me that we plan and God laughs, and that's what it felt like. The question was, how do we deal with this new uncertainty, and how do we express ourselves in this situation?
After this first moment of euphoria tainted with hope, when it felt that we had more time to change our habits and the word for good, most contributors talked about being overwhelmed with a strange feeling of confusion. The feeling that things were getting out of control and that every prediction we made was useless, that the post-human technological future and other golem-inspired hubris tale we thought we were promised was actually compromised by an invisible menace at the other part of the globe. And this feeling of fragility and illusion left a taste of chaos. And facing chaos is surely destabilizing. Each one of us reacts differently, of course, but most of our contributors, our speakers, when facing chaos, were faced with themselves as well. Because looking inwards was a way for them to realize that the only predictable thing is our mortal condition. Life, on the contrary, in its abundance, in its fluid nature, is unpredictable. And the only way to move forward is to individually and collectively accept it and even find beauty in it. But what makes us accept this life unpredictability?
For sure, it's scary enough to accept the ever-changing nature of our being here. And so what happened is that slowly but gradually, we realized something in this precious gift economy that we set in motion with Afterwords, and with our amazing friends at Twin, that the changing timing and in time that we all are experiencing across the board has brought back in an acknowledgement of those moments that we too often have neglected. A simple walk, a short bus ride to work, they all suddenly become essential. And it's like we've been suddenly given the opportunity to see and to experience whole chunks of our life, of our existence for the first time. But there's something much, much deeper at work in this simple recognition. In those interstitial moments, truth unfolds, the unmitigated truth of whatever we are. Through the voices of our friends, we found ourselves extremely resilient and frightened and fragile. We felt safe and completely vulnerable. This being many things at once, this opportunity to be many things at once, it's too good of a chance for us to let it slide. We already do this every day in art, storytelling, sports, and this is the moment to really open up and embrace contradictions and really welcome those contrasts of the idea of being A and B, of feeling this and that. Whatever was before could not be considered normal. And if that wasn't normal, then maybe this is really a chance for us to redefine normal and find a new threshold. And even though maybe the question that we may feel like asking ourselves is, how do we regain control over our lives? Maybe the right question we should ask ourselves is, how do we regain presence in our own lives?
After embracing the different contradictions that exist inside us, our speakers talk a lot about the importance of getting back to the essential. This introspective moment helped them to let go and get rid of the unnecessary, on all aspects of their personal life, but also on a professional level. The situation of instability gave them a greater awareness of how precarious things we take for granted every day are. Realizing that nothing should be taken for granted has allowed them to recover greater concentration and to weigh their choices more carefully. The first step was to come up with a plan, a clear vision that will be triggered by better listening to the world around them and to themselves. Only then they would be able to find their true self, their reason why, a space of authenticity that could be the soil for a true change. This particular situation gave us all the possibility to prioritize every aspect of our life, to choose our path but, at the same time, maintain our authenticity, our uniqueness, and spread it to those who are curious to learn, to grow, and also to teach. Although we are individually leaders of our own change, the importance of receiving or giving support to each other was a key aspect mentioned by each speaker in this transformative journey. How can returning to essential help us to bond with others?
It's not easy, considering the immense pain and chaos brought to the world, but if we try to find a positive angle among the things we lived during this period, we can definitely say that this pandemic has taught us something. It abolished the idea that the world is divided by borders, confined and closed in isolated spaces, dividing the healthy and sick. This virus has no borders. It travels everywhere and fast, putting us all at the same level of fragility, the level of being humans, living inside a body with feelings, thoughts, and relations that compose our existence. We are all different, and each one of us lives a different kind of life, but we do share some tendencies and fundamental needs, and that alone should tell us something really, really important. It's only by saving and preserving those tendencies and needs that we can look into our future and the one of our children. It's thanks to things that unite us as humans, like the need for proximity, or our ability as a community to organize and reinvent ourselves, that we can hope to stay in this world in a dignified way. We need to believe that no man is an island, and that no man can separate from the ecosystem in which he or she lives in. We need to understand that the biggest effort we need to make for our future is in making connections, connecting people to one another through dialogue and shared decisions. So, let's take a deep breath and start by collaborating, because we understand that no one can be saved alone. The question is, will we be able to do it? We would like to take this opportunity to thank all the brave people who shared their feelings and their thoughts. This series is only the beginning of the next phase, so let's keep the dialogue going.